Thank you so much for joining me on Coffee With today. We have a very special guest, Major General John Peabody. How am I doing so far?
Great.
Good. Now I'm going to try to get your title out.
Okay.
You are the commander of the Mississippi Valley Division of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers,
Yes.
And the president of the Mississippi River Commission.
You nailed it.
I got it.
Well done.
Tell me, in a nutshell, what your job really means.
Well, I'm one of 9 regional commanders for the Corps, and so my job is to manage and provide direction to the 6 districts in the Mississippi Valley from Canada to the Gulf of Mexico. And that's one of the things that makes us, there's a couple things that make us unique. One is we're the only region that encompasses the major river, the United States, in the United States watershed, the Mississippi watershed.
Right.
We're the only one that goes all the way from Canada to the Gulf of
This
to the
region
Gulf of Mexico.
that you're over goes all the way from Canada.
Yeah.
It runs the full length of the Mississippi.
Yes.
I didn't know that. I thought it was just above St. Louis. I don't know why.
It used to be the lower Mississippi Valley,
Oh,
and
okay.
then at, I think, the direction of Congress in the mid-90s, we were directed to get smaller, to reduce our overhead, and so we cut out about 4 or 5 divisions, and some of the old divisions were combined, and the result was the Mississippi Valley Division that goes all the way, like I said, from Canada to the Gulf.
So does the Corps, does it control all of the waterways, or is it just the Mississippi because it's so huge? And
we are responsible for water management under federal authorities for the entire nation. So when it comes to navigation, we're responsible to maintain the navigable waterways. We share some of those responsibilities with the Coast Guard. They have responsibilities for the safety aspects and for restrictions on navigation. We have responsibilities for the structures and for maintaining the channels. Flood risk reduction, what most people call flood control, is our other major responsibility. And then we do environmental restoration and mitigation, which is the third major responsibility. And there's a host of other ancillary and associated benefits that come from those, to include recreation, hydropower, water supply, water irrigation, the list goes on and on.
yeah, I watched a video that one of your assistants sent to me that we're actually going to run on Vicksburg Daily News in conjunction with your interview. And it was amazing, all of the different aspects and entities of the Corps.
Yeah, and that's because of the character of water. I mean, water flows downhill, and it affects life in every possible way, from just being able to sustain life to having a healthy environment, and to being able to transport goods cheaply. And so we get into all kinds of things as a result of that, because basically water leads us into it.
To everything.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned that the Coast Guard really is more the safety aspect of it. So is,
Yeah.
well, of course, I want to talk about the oil spill that was on the Mississippi River recently.
Mm-hmm.
What was your role in that, or was that just completely up to the Coast Guard?
Yeah, we had, excuse me, we had really just a support role. This, when you have oil spills like that, the Coast Guard has primary responsibility for managing the situation, and they did. And then we provide any technical support that they might need. There may be some removal of obstructions from a core project, for example. There might be a need to dredge some material. There might be some technical expertise we have to be able to move some barges or dislodge something. So that's really our role, very much in the support to the Coast Guard. In this instance, they didn't really need a lot from us, and so we just kind of monitored the situation and made sure that we were aware of what was going on, but this was their lead.
What are some of the other responsibilities of the Corps? I have to tell you, I never really understood that it was all just about water. I never
it's
got
not.
that.
It's
Okay.
now, this division is.
Okay.
But we're unique. It's another way we're unique. We're the water resources programs are categorized in the term civil works. The other major missions that we have are military construction, primarily. We call military programs because we do all kinds of things under that. We do a lot of research and development. ERDIC
Right.
here in town is one of the nation's premier research and development centers, and we've got 7 laboratories spread all over the country. 4, I think, are here. But in any case, so we do all the construction for the Army, military construction, whether it's roads, buildings, research centers, what have you. We do it for the Air Force, and then in certain areas of the world we do it for the Navy. The Navy has lead in some areas of the world where we have deployed forces. We have the lead in others. And then, of course, we have at any one time about 600 to 800 of our civilians and military members are deployed in, now it's just Afghanistan, it was before also in Iraq, to support contingency operations for our troops and in support of our host nation partners that we're working with.
So you mentioned there were 6 regions.
Yes.
So not all of those regions are about waterways.
Well, there's 6 districts in this region. There's 9 regions total.
9 regions,
Yeah.
okay. So not all 9 of those regions are about waterways.
The only one that doesn't have a Civil Works mission is Transatlantic Division. And that's the one that is got responsibility for forward deployed forces in the Middle East. All the others have a Civil Works mission. Some of them, they're very different in nature than the one that we have for the most part. The ones that have similarities to us are the Great Lakes and Ohio River Division. They've got the Ohio River Basin. Northwestern Division, which has both the Columbia and the Missouri River Basin, and the Southwestern Division, which has the Red and the Arkansas rivers. Almost all the others have rivers that they have responsibility for, but they don't have a major navigation component to them like the Mississippi River watershed does.
Okay. How did you end up in this kind of work?
You know, it wasn't by choice. I spent a career in the Army as a combat engineer primarily for 25 years, and when they selected me for promotion to Brigadier General, what they do with engineer officers, most of us come to work in the Corps of Engineers, and so that's what happened to me. And I honestly never had a desire to work in the Corps, which now I very much regret, because it's a fantastic agency, delivers incredible value to the American people, and prevents damages and protects the American people in so many ways. So basically, I was assigned to the Corps.
So you're an engineer by
I
training.
am an engineer by training.
Are you hydraulics or?
A civil.
Okay.
Yeah, I have my professional engineer license, and but I really didn't really practice it in any significant, intense sort of way, except as a combat engineer, which requires all kinds of field expedient solutions in combat situations. Yeah.
So then you, gosh, you had such an extensive resume. It's hard for me to.
I need to edit that thing. It's too long.
But it's very impressive.
Well.
I was a little bit scared.
When you've been
till
around.
You walked in.
Yeah, right.
Then you were just John, right?
That's right. That's right.
But what was your path, if you can kind of condense this, your path to Vicksburg?
Well, so I spent 25 years as an Army engineer. I also dabbled in Latin American affairs, and my last assignment before I came to the Corps, I was a congressional liaison. I had just redeployed from Iraq, and they wanted somebody who'd just come back to work in congressional affairs, so I did that for 2 years. And then I got assigned to the Corps. I've been with the Corps ever since. So 8 years now, I've been a division commander. This is the 3rd division that I've had the privilege to command for the Corps. 1st Pacific Ocean Division, which has Hawaii, stationed in Hawaii, which is great. Alaska, Japan, Korea. Then I went to Cincinnati, Great Lakes and Ohio River Division. I'm from Ohio, so that was really good to be in familiar territory.
Sure.
And as part of that, I was a commissioner on the Mississippi River Commission. And so I gained some familiarity with the Mississippi River mission down here, and my predecessor, Mike Walsh, and all the issues that we were dealing with. And so they asked me to come here next, and so I said, sure.
And how long have you been in Vicksburg?
A little over a year.
Okay.
We got here in November a year ago.
And does your wife allow you to talk about your family?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, well, tell us about your family.
Well, my wife and I have been married for 11 years, 12 years, something like that.
Okay.
You lose count after a while. But we started a process to adopt our daughter years ago when we were in Hawaii, and we thought it would happen in about a year, and for whatever reason, we were doing it through China. They really slowed things down. So we just adopted her it'll be 2 years in June that we got her. And so when I go home, I'm not general, I'm not dad, I'm not, sir, I'm just daddy.
And how old is she?
She'll be 3 in March.
And y'all live here in Vicksburg?
Yes. There's in the mid '80s, one of my predecessors worked to get an authorization to purchase quarters that were owned on a bluff south of town, overlooking the river off Warrenton Road. It's a beautiful, beautiful home. It was built in the '40s. It's a nice patio in the backyard, a lot of
with a great view.
With a great view.
I haven't been there, but I've been to one of your neighbors' houses,
yes.
and it's a perfect
view. In fact, we were able to see the barges that were pulled over from the oil accident from the house this last week or so.
It's hard to beat that view.
It is.
It really is beautiful. Well, give us a little bit of your educational background, because when we think about all the people at the Corps and how educated and brilliant y'all are and how fortunate we are to have y'all in this community, sometimes we just think, oh, it's a bunch of engineers. But actually, your education is a little bit different. A little bit different from that.
Yeah, I took the path less traveled, I guess.
Well, I don't know about that.
I went to West Point, and I got 2 concentrations in civil engineering and Spanish. I just did a lot of Spanish studying in high school, so I just kept doing it at West Point. And I had a couple assignments in Panama. I got very interested in Latin American issues. So I applied and received a scholarship to study in Mexico for 2 years. And I studied political sociology in a doctorate program, which was very intimidating because it was all in Spanish. And so I had to really go through some intense courses to get my Spanish to the level that I could keep up with my classmates. And B, I was studying with people who were much more educated than I was. But I survived, and at the end of that, they sent me to Harvard for a year to get a master's degree, and I got the public administration program. It's a year-long program, and they kind of give you life credit, and if you survive with a B average, they give you a degree, which is what happened to me, and so I got that. And then went to the Army War College, where I also received a degree in strategic studies.
And then you ended up in Little Bitty Vicksburg.
Yeah. Now, I don't have a master's degree in engineering like most of my colleagues do. Most engineers, when they get to my point, have spent more time in engineering. And I just, like I told you, I was more interested in the combat side of the equation, but I just kind of ended up here, and now I just love it.
I appreciate you being here, and we look forward to you being back tomorrow to talk to us a little bit more.
Look forward to it. Thank you.